Let's look a little bit more about what we can do with assemblies. As you can see here, I already have the building blocks assembly open from our project down here in the bottom as well. You can go ahead and navigate to that yourself. Okay, so for starters, I can move around this green block here. When I try to move the red block around, I can't. As you notice, there's a pin next to my cursor. That's because over here it's grounded. And currently I have these two little icons here. What I have turned on is actually, if you select both and then we right click, we can go down to contact set. You can see it removes it. Now you notice there's, again, nothing really different. Well, let's go ahead and turn those back on. I'll select both, or you can just select one at a time. Right click, check the contact set, right click, and check the contact set. So what we're going to learn is how to add constraints to our designs. But this here will also mimic that same idea here. And then we go to inspect and turn on the activate contact solver. If I go ahead and select that, and let me go ahead and actually maybe change the view, because you notice our blocks aren't lined up. So we're looking at the right hand side. And if I come down, the block looks like it's going through. Now if I go ahead and turn towards the side, notice the block is actually not even near it. But since we already aligned it from the right side and now we're looking at the front, we can ensure that it's the same position. And now you notice that the blocks and the stage can't go through each other. So it simulates real contact if you're simulating parts. So this can be very helpful when you're trying to design your components and make sure they cooperate together. I'll go ahead and turn that off. You have to make sure to actually turn it on and to turn on which objects that you want to be your contact set. It's not turned on by default. So I'll go ahead and just select both of those by holding down Control, right click, and selecting contact set. Make sure to close that up a bit as well. And now they can go inside each other as well. I'll go ahead and turn it a bit so you can see. So if you want to also make sure if one of your parts is colliding or overlapping in space with another part, which it can't do in real life, but in here Inventor will allow it. So we can also select these two parts in order to determine if they're actually interfering with each other. We can do that by here with the Analyze interface. We have to define our first set, which would be this one here. Define our second set, this one here. Then once I hit OK, I get information, and it is telling me that there is an interference detected, and it's a total of 1, and it gives me the volume that it's interfering with each other. If I go ahead and hit these arrows here, I get additional information about the interference of each other. I can hit OK for now. I'll just pull that back out. Now let's learn how to actually add some constraints to our blocks so we don't get this overlap, and we can mimic what we were doing with the contact solver as well. Well, we can go to Assemble, and we can go to Constrain. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically be doing what we were doing with our sketches and provide constraints to our designs. We have a couple types here. We have a mate, we have angle, tangent, inserts, as well as symmetry. Right now we're really going to just look at the mate for this section here, and we'll play around with different solution selections there. So for example, let's say we want this block to be on top of this block here. So what we can do is make sure we have mate selected. Select this space here, or face. I'll go ahead and rotate under and select the next face. And those two faces are mated. Now we can go ahead and flip this around to see what direction the normal points in. We want them facing against each other. So we can go ahead and select that box and hit apply. Now I can go ahead and close this out, move it around. And it does look like I am moving it off of that plane. But if we were to look at it from different angles, notice is actually really staying to where it's supposed to stay, and it can't move left and right. So don't be too tricked if you're applying constraints and it looks like it is moving off a tangent face that you applied it to, because then if you start moving it around, you're actually moving it farther in 3D space tangent to that plane. So if we really want this block to stay here, we may want to constrain maybe this face to the opposite side of that face over here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go back to constrain. Make sure we have mate selected. We will select this face, rotate slightly, and select the other face. We can always flip this around if we needed to, but this is the direction we want it to be placed. So we'll go ahead and hit apply. And by default, this dialog box will stay here in order to add further constraints. But for now, since we're done, we'll close it again. Now notice that it can only move in this one direction here. Another thing that can help us when constraining our objects, because we may believe if this was perfectly there that we fully constrained our object, but it can move off the block. So we can go to View, and we can look at degrees of freedom, and we'll have an arrow indicating which directions our objects can move. So you notice it can move left and right in this direction. So we can go ahead and lock it down one more time. Let's go to Assemble, Constrain, make sure we have Mate selected again. We'll select this face and this face as well, and we'll apply. And once we do, notice this relationship is going to conflict with the other ones because we didn't check the direction that we want the normals facing. We want both of these to be flush with each other. So we'll go ahead and hit cancel this operation. We'll do it again. We'll select this face, select this face, and make sure this time we put flush and apply. And now you notice the arrow that was within the green block disappeared because it has no more degrees of freedom. So now if I try to move it around, I no longer can. It's locked into place. So let's go ahead and look over here on the left hand side in the browser. We have a couple relationships. These are exactly the ones that we put down. Let's maybe take off this relationship. We'll go ahead and delete it. We'll right click and delete it as well. So now we only have the one flush relationship that we have left over, so we can move it around. But notice again, if we were to look at it from a different angle, it is no longer able to move left and right, but it can move up and down like so. So I'm going to lift it up just a bit, look at it from the other side, and let's look at one more way we can put down constraints. Let's actually rotate this slightly, and we're going to constrain this edge and this edge here. So if we were to do that, we make sure we have this and this selected for our solution and type. We can select one edge, select the other edge, and make sure to hit apply. Now notice, let's take this off for a second. We can go ahead and move it, and it's almost like a hinge. So depending the way you put your constraints together will dictate the way your objects are able to move within your assembly.